In this module, we're going to be looking at relationship changes, loss of friendship, skills for managing grief, and coping with trauma. Everybody deals with things in different ways, and it's important to be prepared for students' reactions and behaviours when they are coping with change, loss, grief, and trauma. Take a moment to look over the dot points we've outlined here.
Relationship changes can come in many ways throughout a child's life, whether it is involving them personally or people close to them. One of the most prominent, however, is divorce. It can take a long time for children to deal with their parents' divorce and can cause some serious long-term effects such as anxiety, depression, self-harm, and low self-esteem. As teachers, it is important that we can help our students through this process by supporting them and creating a network of support with the family to promote healthy child development. Firstly, as many children can tend to blame themselves, we can promote positive self-talk within the classroom, which builds self-esteem and a more positive attitude. When talking to the student, we also need to help them express and acknowledge their feelings and reassure them. The link in the reference list, Helping Children Adjust to Divorce, a guide for teachers, gives 4 key elements to focus on: the approach, attitudes, atmosphere, and action. These steps can help create a supportive, cooperative network for children. At Daddies on Saturdays is a story about a young girl whose parents are going through a divorce, which explores the emotions and fears a child may have. This is aimed at children aged 5 to 8. The Divorce Express is from the perspective of a 9th grade girl who is split between her parents' homes and eventually learns to cope and adjust. This book is good for teens through to young adults. When children have a falling out with their friends, one of the first people they will turn to is their teacher. As a class, we can help build our students' resilience. When discussing the issue, we need to be quite specific in what we say. We can acknowledge the hurt that students feel, but depending on the severity, make sure we do not give false hope or be a matchmaker. We can discuss problem-solving strategies and friendship qualities as a class.
Okay, so loss of friendship is when someone loses a friend. There can be many reasons as to why or how someone loses a friend. Some of the examples that you might come across in a classroom is that friends have stopped talking, a friend has moved away, or there's been a death or passing of a friend. Here are some of the things that as teachers we could use in the classroom. For a friendship that has ended abruptly, click on the first link to have a detailed look at the things we need to help our students understand. The main ideas on the website are that they understand their feelings, know that there's a reason, they need to ask for an explanation for clarity, and they need to take care of themselves no matter what the outcome. Pause now and go into the website to get a better understanding of these ideas. For friends who have moved away, it can be as simple as teaching how to write letters or emails and allowing students to do this in the classroom. For a friend who has passed away, it is important to ensure that students understand that the classroom is a safe and supportive place for them. Also, if you look at the link provided at the bottom of the screen, there are ways with coping with death, and it's a good idea for you to have a look at these now and understand them so that you can support any child who may be affected by this. For special activities such as Father's Day or Mother's Day activities in the classroom, in order to adapt for students who have lost a mother or father, you could change it so they make it for another parent or even grandparent, auntie or uncle. I'll Always Love You is a book about a boy and his dog Alfie progressing happily throughout life together until one morning Alfie doesn't wake up.
Grief is the normal response to loss. It is a very personal experience, and the grieving process will be different from one person to another, depending on the nature of the loss and personal factors. Grief affects our thoughts, feelings, behaviours, beliefs, as well as physical factors such as sleep and appetite. These feelings and effects of grief can also affect children's learning. The following links are great resources relating to grief and loss that could be used in the classroom. The Australian Centre for Grief and Bereavement has a wide range of resources relating to grief and loss available. The resources include books and DVDs and have been arranged according to who they will be most beneficial for. Pause here and click on the following links to have a further look. The classroom is a significant part of a child's life and often a safe haven away from home. Therefore, it is important to develop a supportive classroom environment. The points on this page show a variety of ways this can be achieved. It Must Hurt a Lot is a picture storybook suitable for children ages 5 to 11, which can be used in the classroom to help children experiencing grief. This book is about a boy called Joshua who learns that there are many different ways to grieve after finding out that his dog was hit by a car and died.
Trauma is an emotional shock following a stressful event or a physical injury. Death, war, abuse, bushfires, and car accidents are all ways trauma could occur in a classroom. Some traumas are unexpectedly linked to other events. For example, a child may see someone die who is the approximate age of a grandfather and then be worried about when their own grandfather might die, or maybe their parents. The trauma is surrounding the initial shock of the person dying, but the child will be talking about the deaths of other people. Every child is affected by trauma in different ways. It can be difficult to tell when a child or a group of children are experiencing trauma. It is important to look into strange behaviours of children you may think are experiencing trauma, and also make sure the class stays a safe, supportive environment for all students. Take your time to look at this activity and think about how you could use it in a classroom. How could this activity relate to change? How could it relate to loss? What about grief and trauma? Having a reminder of the people a child feels safe with and knows who they can talk to could be an incredibly useful tool in many circumstances when the child feels helpless. This activity gives them the choice of who they think is safe, not who other people tell them is safe. It gives them a semblance of control. The second activity surrounds the expression of feelings. This can be used as part of the fundamental rules of the class and will give the child a way to express themselves without hurting anyone and in a way which they know is accepted. This could also be done physically as a way of determining how emotions feel. Hear My Roar is a story that shows that not all violence is physical, which can help some students understand their feelings of fear when faced with situations like this. The Children Can Cope series by Marge Heegard are activity books that help children deal with different situations through drawing and colouring. They are designed by psychologists for children to use to express themselves. It gives them the creative outlet they may need to deal with many different situations.
Throughout this podule, we have included some picture storybooks that you could include in your class if students deal with change, loss, grief, or trauma, or even at any time, as you can find different themes to focus on. Feel free to go back and have a look at them.